Hi lovely reception children, it's Miss Swan here, ready with our new story for this week's learning. So for our literacy learning, we're carrying on with our traditional tales. Traditional tale. Can you remember what a traditional tale is? Fantastic. So a traditional tale is one of those stories told over and over again by lots of different people and sometimes in lots of different ways, and they're normally the stories that we know quite well. Now, what's interesting about today's traditional tale for this week's learning is that it's a traditional tale, but it has a modern twist. So there might be something at the end that you might not have heard before, even though most of the story that you do recognise. So you can look out for that as well. Now, this one doesn't have any repeated refrains in it, but it's still a traditional tale. Okay, so today we are going to be reading Cinderella. Cinderella. You put your finger on your nose if you know this story. Now, you might have read a book or you might have seen the film, okay? So this one is a really popular one that has been turned into a film. Fantastic. Now, there are lots of different versions of this. This is just the one that I have got, okay? So let's have a read. Cinderella. Ella and her father lived on their own in a big house. Ella adored dancing with her dad, twirling and whirling until her feet left the ground. She was very happy. So there's Ella and there's her dad. Then one day, her father came home with a new wife. She was incredibly beautiful, but her eyes were cold. If her eyes are cold, that means that she's not a very friendly person. This is Lady Davina, he said, and these are my daughters, and these are her daughters, Minty and Jewel. Ella was too stunned to speak. It'll do. Nice house, it'll do. They don't sound very friendly, do they? Oh dear. Minty and Jewel cared about nothing but clothes. Soon they had bought so many, Ella's father had to travel abroad to earn more money. Look after my precious Ella for me, he said. Don't you think I look divine in this? Green looks gorgeous with my eyes. But Davina did not. Davina is the stepmother. She made Ella a servant and left her in rags. Rags are very old clothes. They can be quite dirty. At night, Ella slumped by the fire with only the mice for company. In the morning, her face was smeared with cinders. So you can see here, she's got a dark bit on her face. So cinders are normally the burnt bits from the fire. So it could be rock or wood. And it can leave that kind of dark colour. So because she's been doing all that tidying and cleaning, she's got that on her clothes and her face. Here comes Smudges, Jewel jeered. Sooty Snotnose, Minty sneered. Oh dear. Are those kind things that you would say to somebody? Definitely not. So Minty and Jewel, I don't think they're very nice characters so far. They're being very mean to Ella. But if Jewel was cruel and Minty was flinty, flinty means harsh, so not very kind, there was nobody meaner than Lady Davina, the stepmother. From now on, we'll call you Cinderella. So her real name is Ella, but they're calling her Cinderella because when she's doing all the cleaning and helping in the house, she's got a bit dirty, but it's not a kind name. Call me what you like, thought Cinderella. You won't change who I am. And then here she's got her little friends, the mice, saying, don't worry, Cinders. Do, 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 do. One day, an invitation arrived from the palace. Royal invitation. Everybody, that means everybody, is invited to the prince's ball. A ball is like a grand or a big party. Dress your best and put on your dancing shoes. Jewel and Minty were wild with excitement and squealed at Cinderella to help them into their finest gowns. "The prince better marry one of my daughters," Lady Davina the stepmother hissed. "I don't care about the prince," said Cinderella. "I just want to dance." Davina and her daughters screeched with laughter. "You can't go to the ball. The invitation said dress your best, not rock up in rags." Poor Cinderella. Ugly laughter rang in the air long after they were gone. Cinderella was left alone in the kitchen. Her tears traced bitter tracks through the soot and dust on her face. Oh, poor Cinderella. How do you think she's feeling? Yeah, she's really sad or upset because her stepmother and stepsisters are being very unkind to her. "You don't want puffy eyes for the ball," came a kindly voice. Cinderella blinked at the strange lady before her. "Do you like pumpkins?" the lady asked. "And mice? How about lizards?" Stammered Cinderella. "I like them very much." "Jolly good," said the lady, whisking her outside and waving a wand. Who do you think that could be, waving a wand? It's her fairy godmother. Suddenly, there stood a gleaming golden coach with white horses and a driver in a lizard green coat. Bibbity, bobbity, boo. Can you do that? Cast a spell, like the fairy godmother. So she's turned all of those things into these. Beautiful carriage, somebody driving, helping with the horses. Cinderella felt a tingle in her toes, a whizzy in her tummy, and a buzzing in her head. When she looked down, she was wearing an elegant gown with sparkling glass slippers. "Oh, don't you look splendid?" said her fairy godmother. "Now make sure you're home by midnight, or you'll be stuck in a pumpkin with 2 rodents and a reptile." And those are the animals that she's turned in to the helpers, the horses and the groomsmen. The ball was breathtaking. Cinderella danced with a charming young man. He made her laugh and sent her twirling and whirling. Who do you think the young man was? It's the prince. This was not the plan. When she heard the chimes of midnight, she kissed her new friend on the cheek and sprinted out of the palace. The man ran after her, but all he found was a glass shoe which had slipped off Cinderella's slender foot. The following day, Davina was fuming, so she's very cross. "You two are useless," she screamed. "The prince didn't even look at you. He was too busy dancing with that ghastly girl. It's not our fault. You didn't spend enough on our dresses or our hairstyles." Cinderella, on the other hand, she looks very happy. She had a lovely time at the ball. The next week, there was a knock at the door, and in walked the prince. "I'm looking for the girl who fits the slipper," he said. Me, no, me." But the daughters could not feeze their knobbly feet into the shoe. "Try harder." Then the prince asked, "Is there anybody else?" "No, only Cinderella the maid," spat Lady Davina. The prince frowned. "But I invited every person in the land," he said. "Take me to meet her." Cinderella stepped into the gleaming glass slipper. It fitted perfectly, and when the prince brushed the hair from her face, he saw that it was his love from the night before. "Will you marry me?" he whispered. "Maybe," Cinderella said, "once I know you better." "Fair enough," said the prince, "but what about these horrible women?" "Leave them," said Cinderella. "They only value money, so they'll never be happy." Cinderella was right. and when her father returned from his travels, he threw them out of the house. From then on, Cinderella lived a blissful life, and she still loved to dance, twirling and whirling with her wonderful family. You can see here in this picture that they did get married later on when they knew each other better, and they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed the traditional tale Cinderella with a bit of a modern twist at the end. Bye, lovely reception children.